Today's video is very dear to my heart. The fraud of Mercury retrograde. I was constantly studying it, and on my testimony night, before I thought it would have been Jesus, I thought it was Mercury retrograde. It's Jessica. Welcome back to Jesus' Mental Health, where I mainly help female Christians and ex New Agers gain the emotional freedom that we need to thrive in our walk with God. If you are new here, please put a heart in the comments. And if you have been here for a while, part of the community, please put a sunflower in the comment. In my research, I found out that young Americans in the age of 18 to 24 seem to be the most consumed with astrology. So again, while it's not new, it gained a lot of public interest in about 2009. Is Mercury retrograde? Well, it is a concept that you often see in cohesion with astrology. It often talks about having to do with travel, with learning, with communication. It's a time where you will hear people say, astrologists mainly, do not buy a certain thing, do not make a huge big decision, a time where life can really change, not for the good. It's often attributed to how events in your life change. The beginning of a span of misfortune that is supposed to come down to earth. The backward movement that is constantly talked about, I actually have researched that it is an illusion. So they gave an example of like when you're in a car and a train is next to you and you believe that you could go faster than the train. I believe that's how it goes. But really it's an illusion because one is always going to be faster, more than likely. I'm talking about when a planet reverses direction, and it is supposed to happen 3 or 4 times a year. It's not new to astrologists. It is not new to ancient stargazers who have studied this forever and forever. The weekend of my testimony, I believe it was a weekend. I couldn't remember if it was weekdays or a weekend, but that time was supposed to be a retrograde season. We believe that a lot of the misfortune that was happening to me in that time frame had to do with Mercury in retrograde. If you look around, and there was some great research on this that I wholeheartedly believe, they had mentioned how much there is an appeal to personalized fortune telling. They even discussed how generations ago, so maybe for even us older millennials and generations before us, very different than my Gen Z, there was a tougher time sometimes to getting information, to finding out information. You had to be a lot more diligent if you wanted to find something out or study it. Now, all it takes is one quick internet search, one quick swipe, but it means that many people are not fact checking or don't even know how to. Time frames of Mercury retrograde and astrology, there was a heightened interest in the 1960s. And then there was another heightened, so that was in late 60s was when my mom was born. So when I think about stuff like that, I'm always like, wow, not that long ago, but not that close, right? And there was another heightened time in the 1980s, right? Your late 80s, baby. In 2009, there was a massive boom with Mercury retrograde and an interest in astrology that mainly had to do with social media. Even in the human, I've noticed studying mental health before Christ, we're looking for something to fill us up, to bypass that time, to give us the energy or the spice that we need in life. But there are certain things that you're gonna look to that I've never looked to in the natural. There are things that or spiritual, there are things that I'm gonna look to that you might not look to in the natural. We all sin in different ways, but it has truly helped me to ask Christ, why am I looking to those things? Can you help me correlate that to my life? Can you help me understand my patterns? Can you help me understand the generational curses in my family bloodline? A lot of that will show you why. But there are some of us, because of generational bloodline curses, because of sometimes being African, being West Indian or Hispanic, things that crossed over in our bloodline that opened some of those doors that even created an interest in some of us for the demonic. Asking the Lord to constantly show you your heart is so important to your walk in Christ, whether it has to do with you coming out of fraudulent things that belong to the enemy, whether you're coming out of just fleshly things that are not pleasing to the Lord, or as you continue to grow in Christ and you want to just know more things about yourself when you are unsure. Reading your word diligently, consistently, daily, making sure that you pray for revelation, making sure that you have good counsel and leadership, even finding someone not super brand new out of New Age, because that can get kind of touchy. You want to find someone a little more solid in their walk in Christ. It also has to do with the spiritual maturity level of that person. Keep seeking Christ. Keep asking questions. Write comments in this YouTube video for me. Email me at any time, JesusHabitz with a Z at gmail.com or info@Jesus'sMentalHealth.com. Go and read my blog or follow me on Instagram for more day-to-day things that I go through and experience. I love you guys. Bye.